Bungie has a pretty bad reputation as a company when it comes to art, when it comes to getting art from different places, when it comes to plagiarizing, when it comes to stealing people's shit that they actually worked on and just slapping it right into their games. In fact, there's multiple instances over the past several years of Bungie doing exactly that. But they've got a new game coming out, Marathon, that they want people to get very, very excited for. Despite the fact that based on what we've seen and including the alpha that came out recently, people aren't very excited for it. It looks kind of mad, doesn't really look like a world that people are interested in, and nothing really special about it. Well, as it turns out, Bungie didn't create anything special for this. They went out and stole a bunch of other people's shit to make their game, including a bunch of the artwork. And they even admitted to it just the other day. Bungie developers admit to putting stolen art in new game Marathon. The Halo creators put blame for the incident on a former employee, writing, "We're still reviewing how this oversight occurred." Now, it happened when this artist, who I believe her name is Fern, goes by Anti-Real with a bunch of numbers over on Twitter. The Marathon Alpha released recently, and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs I made in 2017. And you could see that a lot of the stuff that's in her posters appears kind of everywhere throughout this game in multiple instances, different symbols, even just lines of text, all of this stuff. And it occurs over and over and over and over again. She tweeted out a bunch of different things. Other people found even more examples of it. And I mean, here's some of the reactions. This could very well be the end for Marathon before it even begins. I don't think people realize how bad this is for a company with a horrible reputation. If you go looking through her portfolio, it becomes very apparent very quickly. The entire design aesthetic of Marathon was pulled directly from her work. Like, the whole design spine is built off her 2017 era portfolio, typeface, graphic grips, colorization, all of it. And yeah, they did come out and say, well, we tracked it back to a former employee. Doesn't work here anymore, but they're the ones that did this and no one noticed, even though a handful of people from Bungie's current art team follow her on Twitter. But we promise it was a former employee. We're very, very sorry for all of this. Well, it ended up being a total and complete disaster for them. Not only are leaks now coming out that morale is in freefall and everybody feels like shit. There are already problems with the game. Already people didn't seem very interested. And now you have a massive stolen art controversy. Because look, nobody reached out and asked for permission. Nobody asked to pay her for this. Nobody did any of these things. And now, of course, they're saying, well, we're trying to make it right. We're trying to make it right. Well, look, they did a massive live stream just a few days after all of this happened where they were supposed to go over gameplay. They decided not to do that, do a Q&A where all of the questions in the chat were all about the art they stole, and they decided to make up their own Q&A. It was a disaster. We can look at a little bit of this. I don't necessarily want to play the audio for it. I just want to show you. I think that this is the art director for the game, I believe, and he looks... no shit. He looks like he wants to die during this entire thing. During this entire live stream where they sat there and the chat was just full of them getting ass blasted. It looked like a complete and total farce and a complete and total disaster for them. And now apparently morale at the company is lower than ever. And there's launch worries and changing plans. Here's a couple of these bullet points. The public explanation for the art theft, one ex-employee taking things in 2020, is the same one being given internally. So whether that's truth or whether that's another lie, that's what they're putting out there. Sony and Bungie Legal are now sorting through this, and it's unlikely as much new information as continues to unfold. It's not clear how long an audit will take of assets to remove and find any more plagiarism, as it's an expansive enough process to have Bungie not even show any footage at all in its recent live stream. So just think about this. Considering this art is just plastered all over the fucking game, they need, like they said, not only to do a complete and total scrub of it, but it could be a lot. You could be talking about going back to fucking basics when it comes to this art stuff and having to create new things, having to do different shit. And this game's supposed to come out in a few months without a delay? Probably fucking not. Morale is in free fall across all departments, and the vibes have never been worse. Everyone has the same concerns about what happens to Bungie as a studio of marathon bombs, which is something they can't afford. There are not even hints or jokes about a delay from the September release date internally. With that said, it's entirely possible, if not likely, those conversations are happening privately. It's unclear what the plan is to launch a game in a now actively hostile environment just a few months from now, or how to turn that around. They were supposed to have a new trailer in June. They were supposed to do a big ramp up in terms of marketing. All that might have changed because of this, because of the stolen art controversy, because they need to go back and rework a shit ton of things, or maybe just go back and pay this artist a fuck ton of money. I don't know what it would take, but come to an agreement, be like, we'll pay you this much fucking money just to use this stuff. We're really sorry. We'll give you a bunch of credit, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's the easiest thing for them to do that would prevent a shit ton of work. But if this happened, what else might have been stolen to make it? What other people, what other artists out there, what random posters might they have made 10 years ago that could have been plagiarized from somebody else? You have to do a full audit of this game that people already didn't seem very interested in. They didn't like the way the aesthetic looked. They weren't interested in the format of the game and extraction shooter. They weren't interested. And now, no question about it, it went from very tepid enthusiasm for the game to outright people are saying, fuck Marathon, fuck Bungie for what they're continuing to do as a company. This is bad.